Joining me now, Chris Stirewalt, our Fox News digital politics editor, and Howie Kurtz, host of Media Buzz right here on FNC. It's pretty extraordinary to see that exchange moments after he was up on that stage, and it does speak to Ted Cruz's gift of, being able to articulate his positions and where he stands so well. Let me start with that last piece, Stirewalt, though, the piece about the millions of conservatives who stayed at home. I've read a lot of pieces saying that is a myth and that is not true, and that the way the Republicans actually have to win this year, and you tell me, I'm just telling you what I've read from smart people, is to peel off some of the Obama coalition.
Well, first, I liked how they asked, do you think he can beat Hillary Clinton when he was standing right there? What the heck were they going to say? Nah, this guy's a loser. Get him out of here. No, they're both right. Ted Cruz is right, is that what we're talking about here are white males, essentially, in the upper Midwest. We're talking about Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. We're talking about those voters. They underperformed. They underperformed 2012 there. Those folks are not the Obama coalition, and Republicans expected them to turn out, and they were not there. That having been said, that ain't going to feed the bulldog. Republicans need to be able to do both things at once. They need to walk and chew gum. They need to get their coalition strengthened and revitalized, but simultaneously be able to do well with, yes, Hispanic voters, yes, Asian voters, yes, younger voters. But first and foremost, what do they have to do? They have to succeed with female voters, and especially female voters who have college degrees and are more affluent.
Howie, do you agree, before we went to that segment, with the headlines that this is now a four-man race?
No, I think it's a two-person race with Rubio and Christie having had good moments. At the moment, we're all talking
Cruz
about
and Trump, you're saying.
Ted and Trump, yeah. But here's the thing. I mean, Ted's a good talker, as we saw right there. And he stood up to Trump, and that helped him. But it remains to be seen whether the Texas debate champion is built for the kind of New York street fighting he needs for Trump. And speaking of New York, we all in this business, Megan, we score, who landed the punch, who deflected the karate chop. From talking to civilians and listening to the media echo chamber, I think that exchange that we say Trump won over New York values when he invoked the heartbreak and the bravery of 9/11 may have been more than just winning the moment. In talking to civilians, as I say, I think a guy who's known for bombast and insults was able to project a more compassionate side in a way that could resonate beyond just a few news cycles.
Chris, last night people were saying, Rich Lowry was suggesting, if Trump wins Iowa and New Hampshire, he runs the table, and that's it. Today there was some pushback on claims like that by people like Charlie Cook, saying, hold on, there's a whole lot more delegates that come after those initial states, and when we get to March, that's where we get into the winner-take-all, and suggesting it's really not going to be done after Iowa and New Hampshire. Your thoughts?
When it comes to picking a president, picking a nominee, you eat like a cowboy. Cowboy's only got one dish, so he can only eat one thing at a time.
Beans.
It's usually beans, ask Mel Brooks, but it is, you only can have one, and through the month of February, you can only have one election at a time. So how you do in Iowa affects how you do in New Hampshire, which affects how you do in South Carolina, which affects how you do in Nevada, which then talks about going into March, where you get 2 big days plus a Michigan primary. There's a lot of interconnectedness. There's a lot of interdependency here. So here's what I would say to anybody who says, well, you win this, you win that, you run the table, it's over. Yeah or no. We don't know this cycle. We don't know what it is like to have a person with 100% name ID who is creating absolute snap, crackle, pop in the electorate like Donald Trump is, but in both directions. We don't know how this is going to pan out, so we'd be fools to sit here and try.
Go ahead, Howie.
I would just say this. If Ted Cruz doesn't win Iowa after getting expectations so high, he will have missed his best chance to slow down the Trump Express. And by the way, Washington Post top political writer has a story today with the headline, can Donald Trump actually be the Republican nominee? And I would say, can it actually be, after all these months of Trumpian dominance, that we're still asking that question? Of course he can. Whether he'll be stopped is another question.
Great to see you both. Thank you. It's been a long night for them, and I appreciate them staying up and doing this.